Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I want to share with you my acne journey because I have been through it. I'm going to talk about medications like spironolactone, antibiotics, retinol, and how that has affected me, what I am on now, what has worked, what hasn't worked. And I'm going to specifically show photos of before and after all of those medications. I feel like I've gotten to a good relationship with myself, my dermatologist, my skin, that I just want to share and tool you up so that you can also figure out how to best solve whatever is ailing you. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into it. The first product in my morning lineup is vitamin C. This is the SkinCeuticals Silymarin CF. This is for acne prone skin, and I've been using it I think for about 2.5 years, and I've really liked it. So I want to share how I even got to where I am today and really what happened to me about 3.5 years ago. Wow, maybe it's more. It's 4 years. Summer of 2019, I was engaged. I had gotten engaged with my now husband in April, and now it's July. And I start seeing a lot of texture around my chin. And it really was only on my chin, and it didn't go beyond here, and it really focused right along here. I thought, weird. I don't really know what this is. I've never really had acne before. Sure, I've gotten a pimple here and there, but this feels really different. And so I started my own research. I landed on The Ordinary and all of their lineup because it was at a good price point and I could experiment a lot of things. I could experiment niacinamide and hyaluronic acid and all of the different cleansers. So that's where I began. It didn't get better. I felt like I didn't know enough. So I finally went to a dermatologist around late August into September, and they prescribed to me antibiotics and spironolactone, and both of them combined to try to attack whatever was happening. On top of that, I started a really low dose of Tretinoin. September went, October, November, December, and it had only gradually started getting better by February. So come February, I'm not seeing a lot of change. I've been on this medication for months, and I read that it was going to take a couple months, but I really wasn't seeing a lot of resolvement. It felt like I had only just maybe gotten a little bit of an alleviation on my skin, but the journey felt so long and something felt so wrong. In February of 2020, because that's where we are now, I decided to finally get a surgery that I've been wanting for a long time. It was a nose surgery. And I'm sharing that because at the end of the surgery, I was given really strong medication for the pain, and I don't know if it was an antibiotic as well. Anyway, I saw my skin almost clear up for the first time since that July. And so I became obsessed with figuring out what was that worked. I went to the surgeon and I asked for more of it. For some time he was prescribing it to me, but he said, I can't do this anymore, you need to go to a dermatologist. Sure enough, by March, I was no longer on that drug and my acne came in full freaking force. This is also COVID time, and COVID exploded in March, and our wedding was just around the corner, and it did get canceled because of COVID. And honestly, for the better, that's a different story, but my skin was in such terrible condition in that March-April timeframe that I was actually pretty happy, and some of my friends expressed to me that they were also so happy that I didn't have to have that skin for my wedding, because when I did have it, my skin was a lot better. So that brings me through to April, where I just have this breakout. I can't figure it out. I've been on spironolactone. I've tried different kinds of antibiotics. I've been on a low dose of prescription tretinoin, and it wasn't really working. At that point, I upped my spironolactone dose. I had started with 50 milligrams and I upped it to 100 milligrams, and that did a big difference for me. I started to see the acne clear up. I started to see the scars go away, a lot of the bumps and texture even. I also got a stronger prescription of Tretinoin, and that helped a lot with the texture. So with my stronger dosage of spironolactone and tretinoin, I managed to get into a pretty healthy rhythm on my skin. So let's fast forward. My wedding was scheduled, it got pushed out to 2021, it got pushed out to 2022. We had it in 2022. During that time, I was working with a makeup artist for my wedding, and she told me, honey, your skin is so dry and it's peeling. This entire time, sure, I managed to have the acne go away, but I had really dry skin, really red skin throughout basically all of those years. And she said, we have several months until the wedding. Why don't you stop doing the tretinoin every day, do it every other day, do it twice a week, and just see if the acne stays away, but the dryness goes away. And it did. And I started following that, and that became my new normal. Spironolactone, 100 milligrams every single day, and tretinoin every other day, 2 times a week, 3 times a week. And that was really working for me. I thought I'd hit my new normal, and I could sustain that. So that was sometime in late 2021, 2022, where I got into that rhythm. Okay, I'm gonna cut to 2023. At the beginning of 2023, I got a pimple. I didn't think much of it because during this time I would get pimples here and there, especially around my cycle. But this pimple was very strange because it was right along over here. It came while I was abroad in Colombia, and it got really swollen, and then it did deflame, but almost instantly by the 3rd or 4th day, it had a sister pimple right under it. And so I thought, okay, that's strange. 1 led to 2. I can deal with it. It's just 2. Well, a week later, there was a 3rd one. And then a week later, there was a 4th one. And they were all almost in a linear line. You can still see the scars. There was a line, and within a month, they were very, very visible, even from the 1st one all the way to the 4th. They weren't going away, the scars were there, and I could feel underneath there was some inflammation. And this was like, oh, what the heck? It's been 3 years with my prescription and with my tretinoin. So I went to the dermatologist again, and I said, hey, something's really weird. What can we do? At that point, we changed to a different tretinoin, and she gave me a 0.04% tretinoin. She said, I want you to go back to using tretinoin every single day. So that's what I started doing. She also gave me clindamycin, which I have here. Clindamycin is a topical antibiotic that can be used to clear acne, rashes, other things. I started using this every day, just wiping it down morning and night, and I was not seeing much of any progress. So that's now springtime. We get to June 2023, so we're now in September. So this past June, my acne was just, I felt like it was coming back. And instead of being focused on my chin, it was being focused on my cheek. I just wanted to get on top of it as soon and quickly as possible. In June, something else happened to me that was connected to my acne prescription. So in June, I was here at home with Luke. I think it was a Friday night, and we decided at around like 7 p.m., let's go to Whole Foods. And I already had not the best feeling in my stomach. I don't know, I think I felt a little bit nauseous and sick for whatever reason, and I decided, okay, I need to go to Whole Foods because I need to make a cake for my brother-in-law. It's his birthday tomorrow, and I promised to make the cake because I love making cakes. We go to Whole Foods, we get there, we're grocery shopping, and I just tell Luke, my stomach hurts so badly, I want to sit down. And so he's like, okay, let's quickly do the groceries and let's get out of here to get you home. Maybe 5 minutes go by, and I am just holding on to the grocery cart, kneeling over, and I'm telling him, I do not feel well. I feel like things are getting dizzy. I'm feeling cold. It's getting hard for me to even talk. It feels like if I talk, I'm using too much energy. And then that reminded me of previous times in my life when I have felt similarly, as if all of my energy has drained. I feel really cold. My sight goes away, my hearing goes away, it's all like throbbing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna start passing out. I've never fully blacked out before, but I have gotten to the second before blacking out several times in my life, and I never knew why I was prone to it. But here I was at Whole Foods telling Luke, I need to sit down. There are some tables and chairs outside. Go take me outside. So he takes me outside. I sit down and I try to put my head down on the table, but it's getting worse. So Luke had gone back inside to quickly check out of the things that were in our grocery cart, but I just rung him, I don't know, like 8 times in a row. I didn't say anything, so the strangeness of getting 8 calls from me but not saying anything, he came rushing out, and I just managed to get a couple words across to him to say, I need to go home. And I think he understood right then and there, like there was no other waiting. So he picked me up, and as soon as he picked me up, I took a step or two and whoosh, I passed out. The paramedics came, the ambulance came. There's so many people in the parking lot surrounding me. When I woke up, it was that kind of scene that you see in shows and movies where there's just a circle of people around you looking over you. I at first thought I was in bed until I was like, oh shit, I am in the Whole Foods parking lot. Open your eyes. And then that's when I saw everyone. They took a bunch of my measurements. They saw that my blood pressure was really low, and they wanted to get me checked out in the ambulance. They took all of my measurements, and really the main thing that kept coming up was I had really low blood pressure. So they said, okay, it looks like you triggered your vasovagal, I think that's what it's called, the vasovagal nerve, and you passed out. So I followed up with my primary care doctor. I actually went to 2 different doctors to get 2 different opinions. After the 2 doctors' visits, they did read that I have really low blood pressure. My blood pressure at that point was somewhere 75 over 50 something, and that's pretty low. Now that I've been able to address a little bit of the blood pressure, I run at like 80 over 60, I think that's what it is, which is still low, but that is more manageable and more of my normal. Okay, so why did I tell you all of that? One of the things that my doctors found, obviously, was the medications that I was taking. And spironolactone is a medication that helps with high blood pressure. Patients take that if they need to lower their blood pressure. As a human, I already have chronic low blood pressure. And here I am taking this drug that is depressing it further. So it really is kind of a miracle that this hadn't happened to me more times. And that's when we discovered we needed to take me off of spironolactone. So here I am going back to the dermatologist. I let her know, hey, I passed out, and it's not necessarily due to this drug, but this drug is contributing to a lower blood pressure than I should have. I was really scared to get off of spironolactone because I felt like that was the main thing that made my acne go away. I saw a bunch of stories on YouTube showing what happens months after you're off spironolactone. It's like your acne comes back and it's raging, and I'm happy to say that's not the case for me, and that's why I want to share this. My dermatologist took me off spironolactone in June. Again, today is September, so it's been a couple months now. I asked her, is there anything else, because I'm so scared my acne is going to come raging back, and she said, hey, there's this new thing. It's not my first solve for people because it's new, but if you want, you can try it out. It's called Twyneo. I've shared this in a previous video of mine before. This is what is keeping my skin at a level that I absolutely accept. For the first time ever, benzoyl peroxide and tretinoin can be used at the same time. Normally, benzoyl peroxide cancels the effects of tretinoin. Chemically, for some reason, they're not compatible. You're basically wasting your tretinoin if you use benzoyl peroxide at the same time. However, some really cool company discovered how to encapsulate both particles, and they have different release times. So one releases first, the other releases later. You have one product, one application, but you have 2 very strong acne fighting medications on your skin. So Twyneo is what I've been using since June, and I started seeing the clearing up of my skin pretty soon. So within like 2 weeks, I was already looking at Luke going, my skin is getting better. So all of those months from like February when I first got the breakout, I hadn't gotten any relief. This started giving me relief within 2 weeks and just showing me improvements. It's not like my acne cleared, but new spots stopped coming. And that was critical when I saw okay, I don't have new activity. I can just deal with the current activity. So that's what I've been doing since end of June through July, August. I've been using this every day. So that's another thing. My dermatologist said, use this every day. It's replaced the Tretinoin that I had before. She also told me that I could still continue to use the clindamycin, and I was using it. I used it for all of July, most of August, but I've dropped it now, and I've continued with Twyneo, pea-sized amount. It goes all over my skin. At first, I did get irritated, I did peel, but I've now been able to accustom my skin to it. I really owe it to the progress I've seen. What exactly have I seen? My skin now is flat, and I don't have texture in the spot that I was really struggling with texture. You can still see my scars, but they have really come down. I still do get pimples here and there, which is why I wanted to take this video today to show you that my journey isn't over and it's not perfect, but I really like where I am. So this pimple is, I think, just a period pimple, and that's another aspect of this that I want to talk about. I think this is just a normal cycle pimple. It doesn't scare me. It can come, it can go. Actually, it just reminds me I'm a woman, I'm in my cycle. Everyone have patience with me. And look, it came 4 days ago and it's already going away. I've just been applying this normally as I do. I put it all over my skin. I'm not doing any specific treatment to combat it, and I'm pretty sure it'll go away. So that's where I am now, and I forgot where I was on my skincare, but I just wanted to say, if you are struggling with acne and have been struggling with acne or are new to it, it sucks. I'm sorry that you're going through that. We aren't alone, we're here, and if you are doing something that helps you, please put in the comments below, and I'm happy to continue sharing what has worked for me, because sometimes it's hard, and the best thing that has happened to me is being surrounded by people who have never really told me, hey, what's going on there? What's going on with your skin? Why does your skin look like that? I don't know why, but they have never mentioned anything. They know I'm struggling with it, and it makes me feel totally normal. They try their hardest to just look me in the eyes when I have an outbreak, and unless I bring up the topic, they haven't. So the people around me have been really, really critical at me not losing my confidence during the worst of times, and I really want to thank them. So if you're also watching and you know somebody in your life that is struggling with something, I don't know if the solution for everyone is to not call it out. Maybe ask them if they need anything, or maybe ask them in some way. But maybe some people just really want to continue to be treated normally, treated beautifully, regardless of what's going on. So always treat people beautifully. It can go a really long way. So I was going to do my makeup, but I've told my story, and I think I'll just maybe leave the makeup for another day. It was really, really, really nice sharing this with everyone. If you have any questions on any of the products that I use, or if you want to share a little bit about your story, I'm happy to engage with you in the comments below. Alrighty, thank you everyone. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps get this content out to people like you that also like and enjoy watching this. Alrighty, bye.